Hello everyone, I'm Henry. As a student of chemical engineering, my academic world is built on the belief that variables, constants, and equations are the ultimate objective truth. If a formula works, it's correct. However, my study in communication has changed this perspective. Today, I'm representing on Dr. Safiya Noble and her transformative theory of algorithmic oppression. My thesis is this. Search engines and AI systems are not natural, mathematical failures of the reality. Instead, they are high-stake, versatile artifacts that reflect the power structure and biases of their creators. In this presentation, I'll explain why bias is not a bug, but a structural feature of our digital infrastructure. Doctor Safiya Noble is a professor at UCLA and a MacArthur Fellow. Her background is unique because she operates outside the dominant culture of Silicon Valley. While the tech industry is historically dominated by white and male perspectives, Noble's position as a black female scholar allowed her to see systematic failures that others labeled as statistical noise. She began her research in 2011 when she noticed that a simple Google search for identity-based terms, especially for women of color, returned hypersexualized and derogatory results. This leads her realize that these platforms weren't just showing what people liked. They were actively reinforcing the hierarchy of human value based on who could afford to manipulate the search engine's ranking logic. Noble's core theory is algorithmic oppression. She argues when we treat a private, profit driven search engine as a public library, we surrender our agency to a black box. In this communication study, this is an advanced form of gatekeeping. But unlike human editors, algorithms use a feedback loop. Using Python, I modeled how this looks mathematically. In a natural system, a results rank R should only depend on its relevance, S. But in Noble proof, we must add a biased coefficient, beta. So, which the equation is R equals to S plus W times beta. Here, W represents the weight of historical data in past 50 years of data contains social bias. The algorithm learns that the bias is the ground truth. It then prioritizes based results, which user clicks on, further increasing the weight W. This creates self-reinforcing loop where technology doesn't just reflect bias, it accelerates it. In my code, I simulated what happens when you increase the beta bias factor. Even with group A has higher relevance score, a higher bias factor reinforces group B to the top. This applies to everyday lives in critical ways. First is hiring algorithm. If an AI is trained on past successful resume from a non-diverse company, it will automatically filter out diverse candidates. Second, the social perception. When algorithms decide what is professional versus unprofessional, they are communicating a natural standard that we unconsciously adopt. As a future engineer, this realization changed how I look at my own project. We cannot just ask, does it run? We must ask, who does this exclude? In conclusion, to wrap up, Dr. Safiya Noble's work is a call to action. She reminds us that the math is never just math. It's a decision written in code. By understanding algorithmic, um, algorithmic oppression, we move from being passive users to critical observers. We must demand technological justice rather than technological efficiency. As I move forward in my engineering career, I plan to carry Noble's perspective with me to ensure that the system I built serves humanity rather than a status quo. Next time you type a query into a search bar, remember that you aren't just getting an answer, you're being shown a curated perspective of the world. Thank you.